Welcome to the C-Suite at the Open series with TMX Group. I'm Ernie Goldstein, Head of Company Services based out of Vancouver. And with me today is Randy McEwen, the CEO of Ballard Power Systems. Welcome, Randy. I hope you're safe and well.
Yeah, everyone at Ballard's doing well. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So Randy, tell me about Ballard. Give me your elevator pitch.
Sure. So Ballard is a 40-year-old company, and we've been publicly listed now on the Toronto Stock Exchange for about 27 years. What the company does is we design and manufacture fuel cell engines for motive applications, and particularly heavy-duty motive, bus, truck, rail, and marine. And so the business actually sits at the intersection of three converging global megatrends of climate change, air quality, and now electrification of mobility.
That's really interesting. So can you tell me about the industry in which Ballard operates?
Yeah, so we've been really focused on helping to decarbonize heavy duty motive applications. And so like I mentioned, bus, truck, rail, and marine. And there are three key reasons why. These are the applications where fuel cell technology has a unique value proposition because they have the ability to offer not just zero emissions, but long range, ability to manage heavy payload, and ability to have centralized depot refueling. So a lot of these use cases we're talking about, whether it's city buses, delivery trucks, can come back to base at night. Currently they diesel refuel. So what we expect is for them to hydrogen refuel and offer a zero emission value proposition consistent with legacy diesel in terms of vehicle performance, but also consistent with battery electric in terms of electrification performance. So the uniquely positioned fuel cell technology as compared to battery technology for these heavy duty motive applications.
Well, that's really interesting. What are some of the catalysts that are going to positively affect your business over the next period?
So we've seen actually a sea change of catalysts in the last 24 months. A lot of it is regulatory. So obviously when you look at a global climate accord, the Paris Climate Accord, and countries now moving towards zero emissions, moving towards in the future net zero carbon. There's a lot of regulatory frameworks that are in place to help decarbonization, particularly in mobility. So as an illustrative example, last year, the EU put in place new emission reduction requirements for heavy duty Class 8 trucks. So they must reduce emissions by 15% by 2025 and 30% by 2030. And I believe the only way they can accomplish that is through electrification. And these heavy payload vehicles, again, the value proposition for fuel cells are strongly in line with that. We're seeing now similar policies being proposed in California, as well as China as well. So we see a number of markets that are looking to decarbonize mobility through regulatory. The other key change that we've seen in the industry, many examples of this in the last 12 months, and I believe many more to come in the next 12 months, is a number of corporates that are investing in hydrogen fuel cells. So we had Weichai, the Chinese diesel giant, make an equity investment in Ballard, buying 19.9% of the company, and importantly, setting up a joint venture with Ballard in the China market. So we'll see a number of milestones occurring over the next 12 months that will be catalysts to our story in terms of penetration of fuel cell vehicles in the China market. And tied to that, I also want to say, if you look at last week, there was an announcement by Daimler and Daimler Truck and Volvo as they're making significant investments in hydrogen fuel cells. You had Cummins, Michelin, Faurecia, Bosch, a number of companies making major announcements in the hydrogen fuel cell industry, particularly focused on heavy duty motive mobility. So I believe you're going to see a number of catalysts continue on the regulatory front, as well as corporates and strategics making bold moves in this electrification trend.
That's fantastic. Any last thoughts you'd like to leave with your existing or potential investors watching this?
Yeah, I think from an investment perspective, the way we kind of think about the Ballard story is that, do you believe electrification will play a major role in decarbonizing mobility? And I think most investors are going to say, yes, I accept that premise. And then you say, okay, from there, do you believe fuel cells will have a major role to play in decarbonizing medium and heavy duty motive applications that have a need for long range, a need for fast refueling? And I think most investors there's a consensus now that that will occur, that fuel cells will play that important role. And then how do you play that opportunity? And so we believe Ballard is the best positioned in the hydrogen fuel cell industry to express that theme. And so if you look at a company that has 900 employees today, we have over 700 megawatts of product we've delivered to the field over our history, about 3,000 buses and commercial trucks in operation today that have Ballard technology inside, that have traveled over 30 million kilometers of on-road service. So we have the people, the technology of products, and the market experience and brand to be very well positioned in this large, attractive market going forward.
Wow, what a great story. Randy, thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you on the market.
Thanks very much.